do either of you guys have any exposure to, if you want to take real-time drilling and real-time frac and production data, are there single entities inside of customers that are starting to wrangle all of that real-time data? We tend to see that there's a lot of disparate people.
Discipline specific.
Yeah, discipline specific data feeds.
Specific.
Yeah, and it's not really getting commingled together where like the data scientists can get all of those feeds, or they're not really like thinking about it holistically. And some of the better operators are thinking about this holistically and are feeding all of these into single points with single kind of decision makers. What did you guys see
We're
there?
seeing it with our client set because we touch so many of those workflows. So let's say you're using SCADA data to predict a production transport. Well, that's also going to affect the midstream asset, right? Because maybe it's a commercial, maybe it's an internal asset to them, but that asset also needs the same data. If you're going commercial, maybe that disposal or that, we're going to pull off a LAC. I mean, you're going to see it sort of, I think, spread throughout the value chain. And I don't know if it's necessarily like a team within organization. I think it's the technology spreading across the different verticals, both horizontally and vertically, right? As you kind of jump in and use those different data points.
It's a brave new world for that, right? So that as you get all these data feeds that are available, then who connects them, who collects them? Is there a master data system? Is it OSDU?
Data lake, right?
Something like that. Who's got the ball for that? Is it one of those data providers, service providers? Is it the operator itself? Do they customize it? Do they take that off the shelf? And then once you have it all, then how do you start using it? There's layers here, and it's not there yet at all. If you're seeing some of that kind of on an early stage, that's great. That's the next 2 or 3, 4 year play, I think, overall. And I can't wait to see what comes from it. I mean, the influence of rock quality on frac curve shape, on there's so many dynamics that we can predict. We can surmise right now, but we can't interact yet and understand it. It'll be great to see.
Yeah, I think once we were talking previously, we talked about machine learning. I think once you start machine learning to work functionally, and then you're going to want all of those to work cross-functionally and use multi-data set, multi-context.
Maintenance.
And
it's going to be huge.
Maintenance. I think it's going to be really interesting how all of this kind of gets coordinated. We've seen operators that have stood up real-time centers but not made those feeds available to the rest of the organization.
Right.
And those have not been successful because you start to wonder, well, what is the value of this? Well, the value, it was purposefully narrowed, and then nobody got value from it, and so those didn't get maintained. I think the operators that are making the data available, putting it on dashboards, disseminating it, everybody gets value out of these data feeds that are piping into the organization. I think those are the winners.
Right, whether you're in the completions group, why is the completions data not shared with drilling? Why is that the case, right? Why would you not? I think the engineers have been siloed in this. I think, Jim, probably when you were coming up, you were learning all the different disciplines.
Yeah. The other businesses are really good. It's really good, man.
Yeah, I mean, with the shift through to the equity markets are telling operators they need to operate within cash flow. Well, that puts a cap on your headcount. Your headcount is your most expensive part of any business, and so you can't solve it with people. You have to solve it with technology. Thinking about a minute ago, we were talking about real time and cross-functional views and bringing in more audiences. Our operators that are evaluating technologies, the ones that we see being most successful, they're looking outside of a function and they're saying, hey, well, let's go talk to analytics, IT analytics, or let's go talk to reservoir, let's go talk to data science. And they're actually, when they're evaluating solutions, they're getting all of these stakeholders engaged early on.
Yeah.
And making sure we're solving use cases and solving multiple department problems with one solution. And that's been really interesting to watch, and I think that kind of cross-functional, collaborative, almost like a teamwork, acquisition is going to work really well for them.
Even on the flip side, with their service providers who also need this same data, they're turning the wrench. They're out there at the edge, collecting a lot of this for them. It's important to the way they run their business as well, right? To your point about frac crews and the horsepower. Well, if I do I probably knew before, but now if the operator's going to pay for me to get it in real time, I know how to maintain my equipment better. I know how to do all these things that are gonna come at me because the technology is, the data's never getting back, right?
That's an interesting point, right? So the industry, when it's pushed everything to service companies, right? It used to be more vertically integrated. Now, everything's pushed to service companies. And so we sort of said, hey, we don't want to, frack our own wells or drill our own wells or maintain our own facilities. But now we're going to go out there and say, but we want to control the real-time streams and we want to put these edge devices. And by the way, we want ML on the edge telling you what to do.
So
And
it's
that's-
intrusive a little bit.
That's going to be really interesting because the industry has said, hey, service companies, you're over there, you do this for me, I don't want to touch it. But now we're trying to push edge analytics right back into it. And it's going to come down to just like what you were talking about where, hey, we'll put this out there, but we need to figure out how it benefits everybody.
Build
And
trust.
it builds and benefits the service company a little bit rather than attacks the service company because it is a bit intrusive into their world.
And Engage, we were not able to enter the equation without building the technology with the other side in mind. We sell into an operator, but let me tell you, our technology is far more robust for the Halliburtons of the world because that is your barrier to entry, just what you just commented on, right? If they don't want to use it, the field can stop you, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
we've done the same approach. Like when we deploy our products, we interface directly with the service companies, and they build their own data set, and that data set syncs with the operator, and the operator layers all of their value-added interpretation on it, and that never goes back to the service company.
Right.
But the service company still is able to add value to the data in their own way.
right, they make better decisions, right?